40-point ass whooping.
40-point ass whooping. How have you guys been preparing for this weekend's matchup?
I can talk to you after practice. This will be our first practice back. Obviously landing at 4 a.m. Tuesday morning, gave them Tuesday off, and then yesterday I was off as well. For us, like, the focus is going to be completely us today. A lot of things we got to get better at. We as a staff, myself, we got to be better teachers to our young kids. UCLA was really, really good. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them in Cleveland sometime in April, whenever that is. But we have to be better in a lot of areas.
What's your takeaway from that first game? What do you want the kids to take away from that?
Yeah, I think a lot of things. First and foremost, like, they're where we want to go. And understand that, we're not getting there this year probably, but we can make and take steps towards getting there. And the other thing is, like, just being there for each other when times are really, really hard. The hard thing for me was, like, seeing the fourth quarter. It was just a little disheartening, and we challenged them, like, hey, let's go win this quarter, and we lost it by 17 points. If we were able to tie or win that quarter somehow, the way we kind of competed in that second quarter, it's not a 42-point loss or whatever the number was. It's in the 20s, and maybe even less than that. So losing the fourth quarter by 17 was tough, but I thought for the most part our young kids really competed. They made some mistakes, which is going to happen, but really, really pleased to see that.
With your freshmen, was there any deer in the headline thing early, or do you feel like they handled things as well as they
I thought they did okay. The five that Sophie was a part of this too, but the ones that were going to play, I kind of huddled them before, like, hey y'all, this is where we want to go. Whatever happens today, just compete your butt off, compete your tail off. I think that everybody had their own little moment, but, like, Rashonda drives and hits a pull up, right? I don't know how Mary Ashley's left-handed running floater went in, or whatever that was. I don't know how it went in. McKenna probably had a little bit of a moment, but then calmed down, makes a three, drives to the basket, gets an offensive rebound. Emily makes a three. So, like, you could tell, like, there was some jumpiness about him, but for the most part, I thought they did okay.
No, that trip to LA, I mean, obviously that's not going to be your last time out there moving forward. What do you anticipate with those West Coast games? I mean, how tough do you think that could be in future seasons to?
Yeah, I think the hard part was coming back.
Yeah.
Saturday when we got there was fine. Sunday was a little rough because, we're all waking up at like 4 a.m. or whatever. Not just we lost the 3 hours, but we lost another hour with daylight savings. So that was a little weird on our body. We're all ready to go to sleep at like 7 o'clock. But Monday, I think everybody felt fine. And the 5:30 game really helped because that's really 8:30 our body time. The red-eye back was tough, and I think we probably could have practiced yesterday, but being able to take another day off. I think when you go out there and you play 2 games, the trip back is going to be a little bit tougher because you don't just go out there and play 1. Surely you go out there and play 2. So I think it'll be a unique challenge for us in the Midwest and the East Coast, but for those guys, constantly making more trips.
So obviously the loss wasn't ideal way to start off the year, but playing such a tough opponent, you do see some mistakes early on that you might see later on in the season that you have just seen right from the get-go. So what were some of those mistakes?
I think we counted like 56 points of their night. Well, they have 91, 92 points, or some scout stuff that we didn't do right. And maybe they still score, but maybe they don't score 56, right? So being able to correct some correctables and understanding scout, I think that has to do with our young kids being in there too, and just understanding, scout and personnel and why we're trying to do such and such. I think too, like, we're going to be better in January and February because of what happened on Monday. Mm-hmm. Moving forward, this freshman class is going to be better in their junior year because of what happened on Monday. But, like, for the time being, I think we see what we need to focus on. There was no stopping Lauren Betts for us. Like, she was 6'7" and moved and strong, and we were playing against a couple Olympians and some six McDonald's All-Americans out there. But, like, we saw that we can do some things. We just have to do it consistently for 40 minutes.
Growing up in Beech Grove and being the age you were in 99, 2000, 2001, how much of an influence was that on you, seeing what the program here was doing as a young kid?
Yeah, honest truth, like, I hated it. It's honest, like, I was a Pat Summitt, Tennessee fan. Grew up, like, I had those winter jackets that a lot of those fans down south wear, the one that in the fall, it's like a Notre Dame in football, and then when it gets winter, they flip it to be an IU jacket. That was me. That I but that was kind of me, and like just being on the south side of Indy. Only my brother and my grandpa loved Purdue, and it really wasn't until I committed to Purdue that I fall in love. But I do remember watching the 99 game and just thinking, like, okay, it can happen, right? Like, here's a bunch of, 9 of them were from the state of Indiana. Like, it can happen. Being from Indiana, you can go win some national championships. I think the biggest moment for me remembering that year is when they beat Tennessee at home that year. I'm honest.
Love the honesty.
Yeah.
That first game against Quincy, and then you turn around and play UCLA. It couldn't be more different.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you take from games like that afterwards? Then moving on to Southern, it's gonna be another smaller school opponent. So what's the difference in, I guess, what you get out of those games?
Obviously Quincy was a good warm up for our young kids, but maybe not quite reality. And I think UCLA was like a smack in the face, like, okay, this is what it is. Southern's coming in here 0-2. They played Baylor really close. It was a 4-point game in the third quarter, and I know they got blitzed last night by Texas. Both of those teams have size we don't have, so we need to approach Southern on Sunday the way we approached or tried to approach UCLA. Like, we have to play every team like that. Every possession has to be intentful. Every possession has to be with the mindset of, like, I'm going to get this done, and it's just being there for each other. I think in the good times against Quincy, you could see how connected and how we were there for each other, and then the difference in UCLA when it got hard, how separated we were, which is great. It's like, that's a lot of correctable, fixable things that we're going to show them on tape and get better from it.
And speaking of just like your team in general, you guys have so much depth this year. How has that kind of helped you as a coach be able to know that when you pull a player off from the bench, like, they're going to do their best?
Yeah, nothing's gonna no drop offs. I don't. Whoever starts, whoever comes off the bench, like, there's going to be an opportunity for somebody to make plays, and that's the beauty of this team. And I think the more experience our young kids get, the better that becomes for us down the stretch.
Thank you.